for two. And this has been a big discussion at our group all day today. Go for two. Don't go for two. What do you think of the decision there, Tim, by Romeo Crennel to just go for it, go for the win?
I think it's the wrong decision at that point. And Rich Gannon, who was calling the game, who had a very good career as a quarterback in the NFL, felt the same way at the time, and that was before seeing the final result. And I was exactly where he was with it. Look, you are up 7 at that point. You kick the extra point, it's 8 points. You can't lose the game in regulation, basically, at that point. You can't. And I get this, like, hey, we're playing to win thing, but you get 2 opportunities to stop a team. You get a chance to stop them from getting in the end zone, and then you get a chance on the 2-point conversion, which, as we know, is no sure thing in the National Football League. Nicole, you referenced it about, today kind of being the day of 2-point conversions. Mm-hmm. They weren't all successful. So,
I would say most of them worked.
When you look at it that way, yeah, no, and here's the deal. The other aspect of it is, and I think that this is where, and this isn't to, kind of deny analytics and their value, because it exists, okay, and it's real. But, you also have to think about this as a Titans team that had an injured left tackle at that point, that had lost their starting tight end at that point, that, had turned the football over in 2 of their previous, I think 4 possessions at that point. There were a lot of things that were going the Texans' way that would have led you to believe, like, listen, 8, we still might end up winning this football game just being up 8.
I think you undersold Rich Gannon's reaction, by the way, because he was losing his mind.
I probably did.
Yeah, Nink, what do you think? Right or wrong call?
And he was right. I mean, plain and simple, he was right.
Was he right?
Well, I mean, myself, I would just kick the extra point and go up by 8, because then your defense. I'm a defensive player, so I would hope that they had confidence that we could go out there and stop the team from going down and scoring and then having the 2-point conversion to tie the game up. But look, every head coach understands their team. They know their roster. They know their strengths and their weaknesses. So maybe there just wasn't the confidence there in the defense just to say, hey, look, they're going to be able to drive this down the field. They're going to score. They're going to tie this up. And if they get the ball, if they win the coin toss, it's over. So I even think you saw a little bit of the reaction at the coin toss when they won the toss and they got the ball. It was like, okay, well, I guess this game's over. But, I just think that the confidence there on that defensive side probably wasn't there, and that's why they wanted to go for 2 to put the nail in the coffin, so to speak.
It is a thing that happened today. There were a lot of...
If I can't...
No,
if I can, Nicole, and I think Rob is right. The difference is with this is you think about the context of the game. Early on in the football game, Tennessee was having their way with the Texans. But then Taylor Lewan gets banged up. Jonnu Smith ends up leaving the football game. It's not the same team, at that point. There's a sack fumble, by J.J. Watt. Like, J.J. Watt started to have a real impact on that football game. I just think at that point there started to be this feeling that, wait a second, like, the Texans came back, and part of the reason they came back is that defense was getting stops. And so with that in mind, I think that you kind of have to, if I'm Romeo Crennel, that has to play into your decision. It obviously did not.
Right. Hindsight's 20/20, and we can sit here all night long and talk about that. But you do have a point when you said that the 2-point conversion was a thing today. And I said it because it happened in the Patriots game as well against Denver. You've got Cam Newton making his return here after the positive COVID-19 diagnosis, 2 days into the month. 3rd and goal here from the 1-yard line for the Patriots. That is a touchdown. You see Cam Newton on the sneak extending his arms. It's close. They would review it. The call would stand. It is ruled a touchdown. And then you get the 2-point conversion attempt. It was a missed opportunity. So now it's 18-9. Patriots scored a touchdown. Denver did not. And then after 2 Drew Lock turnovers late in the game, it probably made this game a little closer than it was in reality. Drew Lock there, picked by Jonathan Jones. So the Patriots take over. They got plenty of time, 1:28 left. It's now 2nd and 13 from the Broncos 40. Newton, the handoff to James White, who flips it to Julian Edelman, who then gets it back to Newton. And Newton's just mowing over people, a little like Derrick Henry, but not quite. But he doesn't make a miss, fighting for the first down. Goes out of bounds, stops the clock. And that's just not going to work. So you got 6 field goals by Brandon McManus, and that is how the Broncos hang on to beat the Patriots 18-12. This is just the 3rd time Patriots are now under 500 through 5 games in this Bill Belichick era. It's the first time, though, since 2002. Here's the good news in all of that. The Pats did do this in the 2001 season, which was the same year they upset the Rams in the Super Bowl. The Patriots offense, Tim, though, was held in this game to just 288 yards. And you saw a little bit there of what Cam Newton was able to do, but how much of their lack of offensive power was a lack of relying on Cam Newton?
Well, yeah, you couldn't rely on him as a passer today. And you actually saw them late in the game take the game out of his hands as a passer. They threw a double pass. They threw a reverse pass. They ran an option on a critical third down play. They didn't want him to be a passer because this is some of the stuff that they were seeing. Off of play action, he's got an opportunity on a deep crossing route, and the ball gets tipped by Simmons because, Cam doesn't throw with the right trajectory. Then, later in the football game, he's got Bird open on a go route. He's late. If he throws this up the field, it probably scores. It's a touchdown. Again, late in the game, an opportunity with Edelman coming over the middle, and I'm not really sure where that ball was headed. And then a critical fourth down late, they have it picked up. He's got a receiver wide open. They have a chance to still win this football game, and it's not even a ball the receiver has a chance to make a play on. And so, I think Cam had some comments after the game about, being a little bit rusty after the 2 weeks off. It certainly looked that way in the passing game, and I just don't think he's a good enough passer in this new system to miss time and then come back in and play at a high level.
Rob, I think it was after the Patriots played the Chiefs and they had the four turnovers that we said, oh, this is an uncharacteristically sloppy Patriots team. But there were 3 turnovers again today. So what are you seeing in this Patriots team that maybe you haven't seen before?
Look, taking care of the football is number one, and it's going to be a really long week for them coming in the building this week, preparing for their next opponent, because when you turn the ball over like this, it's losing football. And whatever you do, you can't win a game when you turn the ball over. So, fumbling the ball, throwing interceptions, that's losing football. So I can guarantee this. I was in that building a long time. Bill is going to be on these guys about taking care of the football. It doesn't matter if you throw it, if you snap it, if you carry it. Whoever has the football in their hands carries the weight of the whole team with them and their success. So moving forward, I guarantee they're going to be doing a lot of things at practice, strip drills with the tight ends, quarterback extra throwing after practice. They're going to do a lot of things this week to prepare for their next game, and they're going to need it because if you turn the ball over 3 times, it's really hard to win any football game. Before
we wrap up the conversation with you guys, the Packers lose to the Bucs. The Steelers are 5-0. The Eagles lost again, but sort of made it a game late, and the Falcons got a win today. So if you were going to have one final thought about what we've seen so far, Tim, what would it be?
I think the Steelers are for real because they can play really good defense. They're fast on that side of the football. They are a really, really good football team. And then, when you think about them offensively, they've had a good offensive line, a more than capable back, and good wide receivers. And Ben Roethlisberger, if he continues to play the way he's played, and I said this when Kevin Colbert was talking about, hey, Ben is going to be healthy. They can be a Super Bowl caliber team if he is healthy because of how good and how fast they are on the defensive side of the ball.
The Steelers held the Browns to just 7 points, and they said their game plan was to inflict pain on Baker Mayfield. Well, they did just that. They sacked him 4 times. What about you, Nick?
Well, it's 2020. It's 2020. So it's just the year of just craziness, right? So teams that we expected to be in a certain level or are different, and they're just not where we thought they would be. And then other teams are on the flip side of that. The Tennessee Titans are undefeated. So I just think that this season is completely different than anything we've ever experienced before. And I agree. I think the Steelers are a legit team. And, I look at the Ravens give up 22 points in the fourth quarter. That's not championship football. So if you're the Steelers and you have that defense and you're confident and their offense, the way they're able to move the ball with a good running game and James Conner, I think they could potentially be the best in the AFC if they continue to progress.
Those are like the good surprises of this season. Who's like your worst surprise to this point?
I think the Eagles are just surprising to me, the way that they've played. Carson Wentz, the way that he's been playing, it's not what I expected to see this year.
Well, they are awfully beaten up as well, and they had 2 extra injuries today. Miles Sanders went out of the game, and Zach Ertz left as well. Speaking of injuries, we got an injury comeback in a game that was an absolute blowout. Thanks, guys. But we'll get to that. We'll talk to you guys later. But we want to show you in just a little bit as we come back. He's back. Tua making his NFL debut. We're going to show it to you next on SportsCenter.